What's going on, people? So before I leave, I did put a tweet out saying that I was going to make this video. It's about the PS Vita and how I honestly believe, Sony, you're making a huge mistake with 2019. Okay, I understand you're wanting to push forward with the PS5. And in all honesty, people think you're skipping E3 because of the PS5, but yet you've come out and said that's not the reason. I honestly don't think I'm going to understand your logic here, but okay. Let's talk about why this thing here, this PS Vita, the Vita that I have grown very attached to. Let's look at why 2019 should not be the year in which Sony just drops it like a bad habit. I mean, they are fully abandoning the system. It is 100% sure this year that Sony is abandoning it, okay? Now, we've said they abandoned it a while back, which, okay, sure, Sony hasn't put out any legitimate content on the Vita themselves in quite some time. A lot of indie developers and third-party developers, a lot of RPG titles came out for it. The Vita basically turned into the PSP. If you remember, before the PSP went dark because of the fucking PS3, the PSP had a lot of really good titles, a lot of diversity among it, but then it went black and faded out because Sony just dropped it. They abandoned it for the PS3, thinking the PS3 was going to be the be-all, end-all for them when it came to money. And when it came back that the PS3 was not going to do that, they tried to get back in the handheld market with the PSP, and it didn't work out in their favor. They were releasing, during that dark phase, they were releasing RPGs and little scraps to the portable Sony fans, myself included. Alright, so now we're here at the PS Vita. The PS Vita has lived on thanks to PlayStation Plus subscriptions. You get 2 free games a month, and sometimes they're PS3 games, sometimes, excuse me, they're PS4 games that just happen to use crossplay. For Sony, crossplay amongst other systems. No, I'm talking about just with Sony. And I say that to say this. Sony, I need you to listen to me. I need you to really hone in, fucking meditate, some shit. Just receive this message from your boy who loves his Vita, who is not a fanboy of his Vita, but loves his Vita and sees the potential this thing has. Who not only sees the potential, but can honestly utilize this thing to its fullest potential if you were to come out with a revision of this and take away all the ugly proprietary bullshit that you put in here. That means, yes, coming out with a 3000 model of the PS Vita. There's only 2 right now. The 1000 model, which is the one I have, obviously, because look how thick that bitch is. The 2000, which is the slim, and then the 3000, which would be a slim. Now, the slim, you would have to revise with the super slim, I guess is how you could use this, by putting the OLED screen back in. Well, what else? Well, for one, if we look right here, there's a little memory card slot. Alright, and I feel like fucking up major times, so I'm going to remove mine if I can even get to the damn thing. That's a thing you could help with, is making this easier to get to. I feel like you didn't even do that with the 2000 model, but here I'm going to take my memory card out for just a second. Wait, let me make sure the game isn't on. Because God knows, my dumb ass, that game is on. Okay, so anyway, there's a memory card. It's right there, okay? And it's a proprietary memory card, which is why the damn thing still in 2019, if you want a 60 gig card, can run you over 120 bucks. Okay, these systems have just seen a price drop. Ignore the flash. It's because I turned it on. If you redid the whole system, put the OLED screen back on here, you could even bump it to like 1080p output. It's 2019 after all. Why wouldn't you be able to make a 1080p native screen with OLED on this thing? Okay. You could redo the mapping of the buttons here to make it just a little bit better, which in all honesty you could remove the tickling of the ass and I wouldn't be hurt, because a lot of games have you doing this, not this. And that's about all I would change physically, okay? Is just the button placement, this, the tickling of the ass. I don't think that's necessary. Both cameras, both front and rear cameras. One's weaker than the other, but they're both substantially weaker than the 3DS cameras. Sony, I don't know why you did that. After all, you have a line of cameras. This was not your best work, okay? And I know you could say, well, at least they put a camera on there, versus the PSP where they didn't even bother. Well, no shit. They did put a camera on here. I just feel like Sony, being you sell cameras, this shouldn't be that hard. I mean, after all, Nintendo came out with a camera that's 10 times better than yours. They don't even make cameras. So that's kind of a low blow. So, after all that, the biggest flaw is this fucking memory card. This is the bitch. Sorry, it's over here. This is the biggest bitch of them all. The memory card, it's overpricing. Basically, even with this being at $120, the 64 gig memory card alone will push the total cost before games up to $220, if not $240 before tax. Okay? Depending on the cost. I just know it's over 100. I don't know exactly how much. So for a decent sized memory card for this thing, which will eventually run out on you, I don't care if you just buy digital or if you have physical and digital, or if you're buying PlayStation 1 games through the PlayStation Store on this thing, I don't care. The 64 gig is meager, it's weak, it's a sack of shit, and the fact that it's overpriced means that it's meager, weak, a sack of shit, and overly priced just for the fuck of it. Okay? So Sony, listen to me. Come out with a revision, redesign, redo that, make it look like a Vita, only the 3000 model becomes the definitive Vita. Because this is how you fix it. You take away the proprietary memory card. You let us buy those memory cards from Walmart for $20 that are 180 or 125 gigs. You let us buy those, they're like $50. Or you let us buy the 32 gigs, which is about $20 in 2019. And then, bam, people run out and they will buy this little handheld here. If it was not proprietary by any stretch of the imagination, if no proprietary lived on this, this would be the number one handheld. This thing right here, yes. And I know what you're thinking. Why are you saying that a Sony device would have the number one slot in handhelds when the 3DS is far more superior with the camera, the game list, and everything? Well, very simplistically, it's the word proprietary. Sony went so far in investing in that word proprietary that, they literally gimped their system. Sony, this is a proprietary nightmare. This thing cannot sell due to the fact that it is price gouging the fuck out of your fans for no other reason than just for the fuck of it. If you weren't price gouging us, believe me, this is not helping the case. Alright? The fact is, in 2019, this thing can still run you the exact same price as a brand new PS4 Slim. And that's without even trying. Without even trying. A PlayStation 4 Slim with Spider-Man during the holiday season was actually 100% cheaper than this. It isn't that there is no games for the Vita. Fuck out of here. Anybody who says it's got no games is lying to you, and they need to be smacked in the face. Alright? Because, first of all, no system out there has 0 games. Every one of them have a list of games. Now, whether you like them or not, that's completely on you. Alright? This system, the PlayStation Vita, has an incredible exclusive library. Not only exclusive, but just an overall library of good content. Jesus. We got an Assassin's Creed. We got a Uncharted. Tearaway, which is one of the best Vita games from what I understand. A Call of Duty. A full-fledged Call of Duty game. An amazing lineup of Exceed and Marvelous titles. Just incredible. I mean, this is where I play Exceed. I play it on the Vita because the games are just insane. Alright, we had Final Fantasy X and X-2, which made the RPG factor here insane, because who would have ever thought you could take Final Fantasy X with you on the go? That's something that was incredible. Sony, the lineup of content you have on the Vita is mind-blowing, because a lot of it is amazing. A lot of it is good. There's like maybe a handful of games I could do without. Borderlands 2 is probably your worst game because of how bad it handles. But I mean, everything else is solid. This is a really, really good handheld. This is an amazing handheld. I gotta get mine repaired. The screen has a couple scratches and indents. I bought it used from a Let Go app, and I bought it with two memory cards. One of them was 4, one of them was 8, and I traded both of them in, and I got a 16 gig memory card, and the 16 gig memory card was almost the same price as a fucking full PS4 game. Alright? So, that being said, I know this is going to fall upon a bunch of deaf ears. I know, Sony, you more than likely don't give a fuck about the opinion that I have. But in all honesty, the potential here in my hand now, the potential has never been even close to being tapped. The full amount of features has never actually been used. Sure, Uncharted utilized everything the Vita had to offer, but that's one game. Tearaway used a couple of the features too, that makes 2. But honestly, there's not enough games out there to utilize the features of the PS Vita the way it should. Not to mention the glaring neglect of remote play. Remote play makes Sony a on-the-go system, no matter whether you're playing the Vita itself or you're playing on said PS4, which doubles, if not triples, the library of games you can play on this machine. And like I said, it is a damn shame that 2019 is seeing the PlayStation Vita be finally put to rest because Sony just wants to abandon it completely. It's sad. It's sad to see retailers like GameStop decide this is no longer worth selling. And you can say, oh, that's not true. It is 100% true. Go into your local GameStop right now and ask them, when does support for the Vita actually stop in store? Not when Sony's stopping it, but when is GameStop actually pulling Vita merchandise? And they'll tell you it's going to happen before they stop support of the system itself. And the worst part of that is GameStop still sells Nintendo DS and DS games along with a few accessories. Sony, this right here is going to leave a GameStop store. It's going to leave GameStop companies before the DS ever will. Okay? I'm telling you, I'm not begging you, I'm telling you, this is a fact. If you were to come out with a third model of this, and you decided those stupid Sony proprietary memory cards no longer existed, and you just took away the 3G bullshit because going to AT&T is straight up horse shit, and you made it more accessible, and you made it to where, hey, if you have hotspot on your phone, throw it on your phone and you're good to go, we would see the Vita basically reborn, and we would see a lot of sales for the Vita. I don't think the Vita is slept on, and I don't think the Vita has garnished as much hate as it has for any other reason than Sony themselves. Sony, I will defend the PS Vita, I will defend the PSP, because both of those machines had amazing, outstanding potential you as a company never wanted to even acknowledge. You doomed the PS Vita from day one, and you haven't given two fucks about the community who love it, the fans who love it. You just don't care. You've gone on I don't know how many E3s and not even tried to acknowledge its existence. Which, in all due respect for the VR shits, the Vita and the PSP are why I'm so guarded towards the PlayStation VR. Because look at what they did. Look at what they did. Just look at it. This thing is incredible. It had great apps. Near me, you could find another PlayStation Vita owner while sitting on your fucking couch. You didn't have to leave the house. Next thing you know, you could have a bunch of friends. This could be a social device very well. With apps like Near Me and shit, y'all put a stop to Near Me. You put a stop to that. You quit supporting it with physical games, first party games. You just abandoned this machine altogether. And you abandoned it before the PS4 even came out. You tried barely. I mean, very minimal. You tried very minimal. You put as least effort into trying to revise the PS Vita than you did the PSP. I think what happened was you got burned with the PSP and you just said, we're never going to try to bring it back again. This is a case of where if you brought it back again and you brought it back with the OLED screen on the slim model and you took away that bullshit proprietary shit, it would come back almost overnight, almost instant. I'm almost willing to bet if you charged for the PS Vita, say you charged $150, $150 for the new Vita, and you told people this does not have proprietary memory, just run to Walmart, Target, Best Buy, anywhere you buy a small little mini SD stick, you can use that. I guarantee you, all your fans would run out and buy it. And they would start buying the games and you would see, oh, this market is still here. There's fucking online groups dedicated to the Vita. And it's a fucking shame the way you shit on those people. We didn't do anything to this system. The fans are not why it failed. The reason this thing failed is Sony, it's 100% your fault. And that's all I'm going to say on it. Obviously, I'm going to hit the wall here while I hit with the elbow, but I just hope somebody can be like, hey, Sony, watch this. Just look at this. This guy makes a lot of good points. And I've honestly, since I bought this particular Vita that I bought off of Let Go or whatever the fuck it was on whatever app, I've honestly bought more Vita games since. I've honestly gone Vita hunting, meaning I went out of my area. I went out of town. I went Vita hunting at stores I never thought I'd go looking for a Vita game in. I have more exclusive content on the Vita than anything. I mean, just look at this shit. All these are pretty much exclusive. The only one that's not is fucking Child of Light. Every other one of these has an exclusive sticker on it. So all this is exclusive content. Alright? What I showed you before was Xseed games. All those were Xseed. All these are PlayStations. These are all PlayStation games exclusive. Except for Child of Light. That was just the game I bought because I actually love that game on my PlayStation 4. And it's a physical copy for the Vita. Fuck it, I'm buying it, right? So, Sony, in the end, as I end this video where I rant about why Vita shouldn't be dropped like a bad habit, you should still support it in 2019. And why Sony, if you did a revision of the system, or you did a rebranding of the system, or if you just re-released the fucking thing, you would make a lot of money. I fully believe that. If you actually went out and did what I just said to do, you would see a huge, huge jump in Vita support. Almost overnight. Almost instantaneously. So, I'm going to get out of here. If you don't follow me on Twitter, please go follow me on Twitter because I'm on there quite a bit just to see what's popping, what's going on, getting news on other shits. But I am on there and I do post about things like, for instance, the Vita being dropped in 2019. And I'm out this bitch though.